Okay, we will call the meeting of the Irvington Architecture Review Board to order. As is usually the case, we will start with revisions or continuations, whatever we may have in those categories, and then go on to new items. We will, in the new items, we will go in ascending order from the order in which they were received by the building department. So we will call first the revision 90 Fargo Lane exterior elevation change. If you're in the audience and you are representing this particular application, could you please raise your hand figuratively on your computer and let us know that you're here.
I'm here.
Okay.
Good evening. How is everyone?
Good, thanks. We hear you and we see you, and if you'd like, we'd ask you to share your screen with your application.
Sure. Okay. So this evening, good evening. My name is Jessica Barron. I am here with Ferguson Malone Architecture on behalf of Parganos at 90 Fargo. We are here because we are making a minor alteration to the design of the exterior facade. Originally, in our submission, we had included a pool fence that was sort of a typical pool code compliant fence, just a metal fencing, and we have decided to change the fencing to a custom cedar slat fencing, which sort of speaks more to the exterior design of the facade. The fencing, what's nice about the new fencing is that it sort of covers the area underneath the deck where the HVAC equipment is. And also it allows for the deck to still look like it has a floating look to it. The fence will pretty much look almost exactly like the siding. This is a sort of an inspiration image as to what the fencing will look like. And we've provided a photo of the site so you can sort of see how the cedar fencing will complement the siding on the house.
Okay. Do you have a better picture of where this fence is going from a photograph standpoint?
I do not have an image as to where the fencing is going to go. It is around this corner. I can show you in plan. I'm not sure if that'll help. This is the front of the house when you're coming down the driveway. So it's still in the same location. It's just the design of it has changed. It hasn't moved locations as far as where it's going. It's the fencing around the stairs on both sides of the pool.
Okay. The pool fencing has changed or it has not?
This is the pool fencing. It's changing to a cedar slat fencing rather than the metal fencing.
Okay.
But it's also to enclose the mechanicals.
Yes, it'll enclose the mechanical area. It'll hide the equipment, which is nice. And like I said, it speaks more to the design of the exterior with the cedar because a lot of the house is cedar. So we figured it was a nicer design that spoke more to the house rather than that standard metal pool fencing.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Gentlemen?
No.
Ladies?
No, Jessica, the placement is exactly the same then as the old one. We're just changing the material from metal to wood.
So the only difference in the placement is that in the old, I have the old drawings up actually. The old drawings show the fencing sort of ending right directly underneath the stairs, sort of just encapsulating the stair area. And this design allows the fencing to go around the whole underside of the the deck rather than just the area around the stairs.
Okay,
That works for me.
all right.
Okay, any other questions? Nope. I will make a
No.
motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're good to go. Thank you.
Great, thanks. Have a wonderful evening.
You too.
You too.
Thank you.
Okay, on to new matters. ARB 22-47, 92 Dogwood Lane, siding.
What's the family name on the application, right?
Mainero,
Okay,
Mainero, M-A-I-N-I-E-R-O.
thank you.
Mr. Longway, you're muted.
Hi there, sorry about that. How are you folks?
Good, thanks.
Great.
Would you please present your application?
Yeah, I was told we need to do a Zoom with you folks about approving some siding for a customer of mine, Mike and Crystal Monero, 92 Dogwood Lane in Irvington. I guess there was questions about what product we are going to be using. So we are using the Hardy board siding for the whole entire envelope of the house.
You have anything you could show us? Because I did have a question about why two separate hardy finishes.
There's going to be a shake siding on the top portion of the home, the front of the home, and then there's going to be lap siding on the lower portion of the home, and then lap siding around the rest of the building. So they just wanted to mix up the front, with the shake up top and then the lap siding down below was the look they were going for.
All right. I didn't have any other questions. Anybody from the board? Nothing.
No,
No.
Nothing. Okay, I guess we're good to go. I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
second,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Great, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Have a good night.
You too.
This is where we'll get a little.
Yeah.
Tricky. Okay, we will move on to the next application, ARB 22-48, 116 Main Street, Capital LLC, solar panels.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
My name is Brandon Hall. I'm with Rivertown Solar, representing Eileen Fisher for the solar array installation at 116 Main Street.
Okay.
If I could share my screen here with you.
Thank you.
We've got an application in to install a solar array on the backside of the roof for the house at 116 Main Street. This is not the Main Street facing side of the roof, but this is the south facing side of the roof away from Main Street.
Yes, hi, and my name's Eric Aegis. I'm with Rivertown Solar as well. Yeah, and there are three separate arrays. One on the rear main roof, another on the sort of overhang of a deck, and then another on the shed. And these are all, as Brandon said, south facing. So there's no kind of, you won't even see them. There's no like
People on Main Street.
Yeah.
People on Main Street won't see it, but we'll talk about the people who live behind that.
Okay.
Okay, is there a better view of that? Because yeah. No, stop. Yeah, because that doesn't, I mean,
Here you can see Main Street. Here's
Yeah,
the
no.
home.
I get it. Could you go down a couple? I just was concerned about the fact that the arrays were not necessarily symmetrical. That's fine.
Okay, so here, if you want to see drawing A102, you can see that this is the main house, and it's got we'll call this the third floor roof. Here below is a second floor roof, which is kind of like a flat roof. Maybe it's got a 5-degree pitch to it. Here you've got a walkway and some grass area. This is the garage. So this is a separate structure in where we'll have here we've got 10 PV modules mounted to the roof of the garage as well.
Okay. What is between the arrays on the third story roof? What is the rectangle between the arrays?
This is a dormer window.
Between the 3 and the 2.
That's a skylight. That's a skylight.
Right here is a skylight.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I'm just wondering on the porch that you said has only a 5-degree pitch, that, why there are 7 and that you didn't just complete it. Is this power being used for this residence?
It is being used for this residence. Eric can speak to the layout of the second floor roof.
Sorry, yes, it is for this residence, and NYSERDA allows us to go up to 110% offset based on the annual average electricity consumption of the property. And so we hit right below that. If we completed that rectangle, we'd be slightly above it.
Is the array, the southernmost array, is that going to have its own complete set of infrastructure as far as the electrical panels go?
So this garage has what we would call its own a sub electrical panel that's being fed from the main house's panel. So this small array here is going to backfeed on the garage sub panel, which will then feed into the house's main electrical panel. So they're working together.
Okay, that was my question.
Mhm.
I just like to go with that overhang again, and Randy, maybe help me out here as the artist in the group. I'm just wondering if you're going to use 7, if there's a better way to place those 7 rather than just have that one hanging off on the right. Whether that wouldn't be better placed in the center, or to give it some
Is
symmetry.
there a reason why that
Right.
array is in the fashion that it is?
The orientation of these 7.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's really just about kind of economizing the usage of the railing
Oh, okay.
and the clamps that hold the panels onto the rails.
It probably would look better if it was 3, 3, and 1 at the bottom.
Yeah, I agree.
We could do that. It's not a big deal. I mean, it's not gonna destroy the project, ruin the project for us.
Did the client consider any of the flat panel products that are on the market at this point? And the reason I ask this is because this is one of the most beautiful, antique houses that we have on Main Street. And again, putting these panels, even if it's from the back, we're all going to see it from the walkway, riding our bikes past it. It's just, I don't personally like it. Prefer these flat panels versus these raised.
I assume what you're referring to is something like what's called the Tesla tile.
I mean,
Yeah,
when you say
all
flat panels, these are flush mount panels. These aren't tilted off the roof. These are flush mount, so they're tight. They're flat to the roof. That's
I'm
what
talking
you-
about the ones that, like the shingle panels from
Hmm.
Timberline.
panels are about 3 times as expensive and about a third less efficient, and are having massive supply chain problems. Tesla is not even is probably going to fold that business.
Yeah, I'm talking about Timberline, and they're not 1/3 efficient at this point. Because I've looked at it for my house on Main Street.
I mean, they're about 15% efficiency. For 1,000 watts hitting the roof, you'll get 150 watts. And for the LG panels or for the sun power panels, you'll get about 220 watts. So it's maybe about a fourth less.
Okay, was any thought given to avoid or mitigate any glare onto neighboring residential properties? I mean, are there houses behind you or on the side of you that there could be
No, I don't believe so. There's a good bit of foliage that's going to block the glare, and these aren't a high glare panel. I mean, this is a pretty
Is that evergreen foliage though, or will the glare be pretty bad in January, February?
I don't even, I've never heard of glare as being an issue.
Let me pull up 116 Main Street so we can see it from Google Earth, right? And take a look at this, what it looks like from.
They're not evergreen. As I recall, I haven't been in that backyard for a while.
So we get a good reference, a good visual on where this, in the tilt of the roof as well. So we talked about the second floor array, which is going to be here. There's not going to be any glare to anybody because it's pretty much a flat roof, right? So this is the roof really that I think you're probably referring to because it's the highest up. And Eric, do you know the pitch on that roof off the top of your head?
It's
well,
30.
About a 30-degree angle.
Oh.
So you look down here, that the closest residence would be all the way down here. Is this a complex?
Yeah,
I think this
I was
is
looking
apartment
up
complex.
I would look at the one on Main Street. Right there, 120. That's the one I would be worried about.
120. So this house is actually parallel to 116 Main Street, and the glare is going to be facing south, but up toward the sky. It's not, if we were at a 90-degree angle, that might be something to think about, but I really don't see how it would be possible to glare on any of these neighbors. The closest neighbor again is the apartment complex all the way down here.
Yeah, these aren't even highly reflective panels for the most part. It's usually the cells are black. And so most of the.
Would it be possible to plant any additional evergreen screening material to sort of block the view, particularly from the aqueduct trail? Or would that cast a shadow on the panels and reduce?
I think that would be, I think you want to be very, there's already going to be some shading of the panels, and you want to keep them as exposed as possible, and so that they're producing as much clean energy as possible.
we have to
Yeah.
we have to open this up to the public and so we will see if there's anybody that lives around there that has any questions or concerns. I will make a motion to open the public hearing. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Okay, any other questions from the board?
Do you have actual photos of what it would look like a rendering of either topical or maybe from the aqueduct?
Let's see here.
Yeah, there we go. That's it. Oh, and that's why we didn't complete that 9, and that's another reason. I mean, there's an obstruction there.
Okay. Anybody else?
What kind of inverters are being used, and is there any risk of fire
Absolutely none. These are N-phase IQ7 plus inverters, and they all comply with NEC rapid shutdown. So as soon as the grid goes out, the inverter shut it off. So there's no islanding.
Okay,
Rick, the man in the audience.
I know.
you see him? Okay.
Doesn't that look a little different of a setup on the garage?
Not really.
Right, 5 and 5? Was it the same?
Yeah, I think it's.
Oh, it's the same, yeah, okay.
Okay, we will open it up. Sarah, do you have any hands raised? Okay,
There's
we'll
nobody
take a
listening
question.
in, and there's nobody commenting in the chat.
Okay, we'll take a question from the audience then.
Okay, hi, I'm Tom Sabatino. I live at 10 South Dearman. And my deck is about 18 feet off the grade. I'm right directly looking at this garage right here. I really appreciate all the work that was done on that house. I think they really saved it. So I appreciate that. But I've had a couple of issues. When it was first renovated, in the back there, they put all the mechanicals, and that wasn't part of a review. That was done prior to starting the work. So I had no comments, and I agreed not to make a complaint about it, because I know it's a lot of work to move it. But had they done that earlier, I would have recommended on the other side. I sit on my deck, I hear all those mechanicals. Secondly, they had proposed, and this is going back to 2017 meeting that I was at, January 4th, 2017, has proposed some rather large trees which would have blocked my view of the Hudson River. And at the time, the board agreed that they should not do that. And the architect told me, they asked me to give my input. I said, I'd like to see, whatever plantings to be no higher than 12 feet. Well, they put in some trees that are now well over 20. So I have a little concern about what am I going to end up with next. And, I look directly over on that garage. So, when I hear that the closest house is all the way down.
Where is your house?
10 South there, right here.
Is everybody viewing my screen?
There it is,
This is the deck I think that the gentleman's referring to here.
and these trees here are now growing quite big and eventually will be blocking my view, even though I was promised they would not grow, plant anything that big there. So,
So in your estimation, those panels that are on the garage or whatever that structure is going to be detrimental to your deck?
it's not gonna cause harm to my deck, no, but I'm a little concerned about the aesthetics. And like I said, I've already had to tolerate the mechanicals, which I think should have been part of the original planning, and not done separately. That's already happened. And I'm not very happy about the trees when I was promised that they would be more than 12 feet. So I'm wondering, what if I do get clear or something? Then it's going to be another issue that I just have to live.
Can I just ask you, have you spoken to them about the trees at all? Because, I mean, from what I know about their corporation in general, they're really trying to benefit the town, and you know that. I would speak to them because I think,
they've done with the house.
yeah, I know. And I think they really, in general, they want to be proactive and think, and those kinds of things, solar is, that's a little more gray area.
And so
here,
if
but-
they were to use something that was, maybe as was already mentioned, there's many systems out there now that look more like roofing materials,
Right.
rather than something that's, so stark.
But they're also 3 times the cost.
Yeah, they're 3 times the cost. They're not as efficient. And
Most.
yeah. And sorry, just to let you know, solar panels actually cause less glare than window glass because they're not designed to reflect light. They're designed to absorb it, and the cells are black.
Well,
they
if we
really
hadn't
don't-
had,
I
if
think
we
it's
hadn't
more
had a
like-
situation,
Yeah,
if we hadn't had a situation early on in and that's what precipitated the formulation of the solar energy equipment guidelines by the Village of Irvington. If we had not had a reflective situation, we would tend to agree with you, but we do know for a fact that it has happened in the past. And that's, like I said, what precipitated the solar energy guidelines that the
Yeah, and that's not unique. Yeah, that's not unique to Irvington. There are products that are being made available in the market to reduce glare, films that can be installed. So if that does indeed, if that does come up to be a concern, we're prepared, to install the film to reduce any glare that may be coming off the panels. Also, take a look at my screen here. I've got Google Earth pulled up. You can see the deck here on 10 South Dearman. This is where the panels are going to be installed, and this roof is a pretty significant angle. I think it's a 30-degree pitch facing south. So I really don't think that this garage, this side of the roof on the garage, it really can't reflect onto the deck. It's really facing south toward this area that's all just wooded.
Yeah, and just another thing on top of that is, the newer panels are designed with anti-reflective glass, and the contacts that transmit electricity that you see on the outside of the older panels are not on the outside of the newer panels. That they're just it's just a black square where those contacts that might have caused the glare would be. So that's just another thing to think about.
So if we were to approve it based on the application of non-reflective glass, you would agree to that?
Yes.
To ask a question, Mr. Sabatino, is your only concern the reflection, or is it also just your view shed?
It's really gonna.
Yeah, I think it's more about view shed. Right.
Okay, to me, it's more about the aesthetic of what I have to look at.
That's what I thought.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we have been what's the word I want to use? Once again, the document that we have to go by is very specific, and the Village of Irvington is more interested in allowing people to install these solar arrays as long as it's not, as long as you adhere to the guidelines, and they're very, very specific, and there's nothing that I see based on the guidelines of a pitched roof that once again, if the number one guideline was all measures should be taken to avoid or mitigate any glare onto neighboring residential property or public rights of way. Beyond that, having been on this board for many, many years, I know that the guidance from the Board of Trustees has been very specific. And unless we know that there's going to be, unless it was, blocking somebody's view shed from their house to the river, that would be one issue that we can contemplate. But at this point, I don't see. While I appreciate Mr. Sabatino's concerns, I'm not seeing an issue with this particular array because of the way it's formulated on the buildings and on the roofs. Anybody? Sarah, do we have anybody raising their hands?
No. And there are no comments in the chat.
Okay.
So I would say I agree with you on the aesthetics are an issue, and I think all we have the power to do here is encourage the owners to look at alternate products. And push them to start looking at the flat panels, the shingle types instead of these raised panels. But I don't think there's anything we can do about it.
The other issue is making sure that those panels are no more than 6 inches from the top of the panel to the roof, no more than 6 inches. And I've looked at all the nomenclature from the solar company, and they clearly are within that 6 inches. Okay. Anybody else?
Correct.
very much
Is
to the roof.
it
Thank
at
you.
all possible that you could squeeze some more panels on the roof of the house and not do the garage piece?
Unfortunately not. There is an obstruction here. This is why the layout of the second floor flat roof is as it's shown here, is because there's an obstruction here. And we physically can't fit any more panels on this portion of the roof. We have to make use of the garage, which is really ideal. To achieve the ideal production that we're going for.
Yeah, and NYSERDA also sort of stipulates that you have to get a certain amount of production based from each panel has to be placed as efficiently as possible in order for you to get the rebates and all the New York State subsidies. These panels, they has to be a certain amount of total solar resource factor, for each panel, so it has to have a certain amount of sun exposure. So, if we put them all in the north facing roof, they wouldn't qualify, for example.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, I would make a conditional approval based on the fact that you were going to use non-glare glass. I would do we have any comments from ownership?
No, you mean from us?
Yes.
No, yeah, like I said, these are exactly as you said, anti-reflective glass.
Yeah, we concede with that. That's yeah.
And these are much, I'm gonna say, well, there'll be much less glare with this type of a panel than ones you've seen 10 years ago that you might have kind of been the impetus for this
Okay.
law. Because these
Okay,
aren't made the same.
I will then make a motion to approve based on the use of non-glare glass. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.
you.
Have a good evening.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
I would reach out to them though. I mean, it's a separate issue, but
Yeah,
I'm sure they would, in terms
not
of the
against solar,
trees.
So,
No, I know.
but my only
Yeah.
concern was that I've been told a couple of things that were gonna be okay, and then they turned
Yeah.
out not to be, so
Yeah.
wanted to make sure that this wasn't gonna be. So this is just a black panel, it's not one that tracks or moves or anything, okay?
No.
And I guess I'll find out who to reach out to about the view shed then.
Yeah.
I guess, I don't know who.
There is a manager of the house
Okay.
there, but you can probably even call Eileen Fisher headquarters and they direct
Okay,
you.
I'll do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Take care.
Enjoy your evening.
You too. All right, moving along. The next new matter is ARB 22-49, 21 South Cottonette Street. Exterior elevation change.
Good evening. Hope everybody can hear me.
We can hear you.
Okay, excellent. Good evening. My name is Bill Witt. I'm the architect for the homeowners, John Cousins and Beverly Adams at 21 South Cottonette Street. And what we're proposing to do is an interior and exterior renovation of their existing home. We'll be replacing the siding. It's currently a 10-11 inch exposure cement board siding with a hardy plank siding, which a tighter 6-inch exposure. And we'll be replacing the windows with an Anderson casement window on this project. If I can share my screen with you.
Can you share your screen with the application?
Absolutely. So in addition to replacing the windows and the siding, there's a small set of steps in the back porch that's also being rebuilt, not really in the public view. Let me show you the elevations. So here's the existing exterior of the house. So you see it has some kind of small, tight, double hung windows, the large exposure cement board siding. And we're gonna modernize it a bit and go with the white hardy plank, white casement windows. New roofing on the house will be a charcoal blend, but the colors are staying the same from what's existing. You can see the new porch on the side, or excuse me, in the rear. That's just replacing one that's in disrepair.
You had I read somewhere where it said vinyl lattice.
Yeah, underneath the porch room, it's a vinyl lattice and an AZAC panel.
Okay.
It's only in the rear.
Okay. You have anything with the deck railing and the posts?
Sure. So, let me see if I can go back and find you the right one. All right, so we have one new exterior light fixture in the back of the house. Front door, garage door. There's our railing. So it's a white aluminum railing system with 3.5 inch newel posts. So it'll look like wood. We're just trying to create more of a low maintenance exterior for the homeowner.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, that doesn't belong there.
Okay. Those were my questions. Anybody?
No.
No.
Okay.
That's good.
You anticipated one of my questions with the lighting. That was good. Okay, I would then make a motion to approve the application. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too. Not complicated. Okay, moving along, we are moving to 22-57 Irving Place. Pool and exterior elevation changes.
There we go. Good evening, everyone. I'm Renee Byers, the landscape architect for Audie and Shireen Blum. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, great. With me tonight is Jaime Donate, who's our architect. So I will give you an overview of the project overall and what we're planning as far as the landscape changes, and then he can take you through the details of what's proposed for the house itself. So I'm going to share my screen if that's okay, and I'll go from there. Second. Okay. So we submitted a big packet to the board, but I'm focusing tonight on a booklet that we prepared. And if questions arise, because there's a lot going on in the project, we're happy to open up the full set, but I'll run through what I have and we'll go to questions after that. So the site itself, as an overview, is almost 1.3 acres, and the Blums purchased it back in 2017. They made a number of interior renovations and then began to focus on the existing landscape. The site has a beautiful perch overlooking the back of the house, overlooks the Hudson with a gorgeous view, but all the various site features were applied in kind of a hodgepodge fashion and really need updating, both for safety and function and trying to create a better flow from inside to outside. and also to create a better use for their family, because there's very steep topography in the back. So these are just a few existing shots moving around the property that were in the booklet that we provided. On the front of the house, we'll certainly be changing all the landscaping. Jaime has some nice elevation changes to the house itself. We'll be repaving the driveway. As you come around the house, this photo is some old concrete steps that run along the side. So both sides of the house will be improved with how you get from the high level up in front down to the lower level in the back. Once you reach the backyard, there is an existing kidney-shaped pool, which has a lot of issues primarily around settlement. And it is definitely in need of replacing. And the Blums would also like to have a automatic safety cover. They have young children, and with this shape is pretty much impossible to work with as far as that goes. The rear of the house has a very decrepit, dangerous staircase, which is kind of falling apart, and also obstructs the nice ability to use this lower terrace, which is off of a lower level family room. Or existing photos. This is moving along to the back, so you can get a sense of this is looking off of out the backyard towards the Hudson. So it is a really very charming view, and quite dramatic. And this is picture M. That's a existing fence that was approved by the ARB, I guess, a couple of years ago. And then there are a number of retaining walls. So this is the focus of a lot of the site work. These are, as you can see here, they're starting to fail. And there is no way in terms of any kind of a staircase to safely get from this upper level up in this sort of main pool area down to the lower level. These walls are kind of falling apart. So we've been to a number of planning board meetings. We've received a coverage variance and other variances that were required. And here we are to our last stop. These are some of the other, just zooming in on some of the reasons that we need to make all these replacements. You can see the old concrete failing retaining walls, a real interesting bunker sort of situation here with weird steps coming down. So all this will come out and be changed. And this is a view from one of the main things we want to improve, this inside outside view. Here's looking out the basement through the existing staircase underneath the deck. So all that would be improved greatly, we think.
So all the landscaping and other issues have been cleared through the building department and did you need to go to the ZBA?
We did. And we received all the variances that we applied for, as well as the planning board approval and all the tree removals. Everything's been approved.
Okay.
This is a little context map to give you a sense of where the property is located. Irving Place is a small dead-end road coming off of Riverview Road. We are deemed a corner lot, which was one of the variances that we need to get. But Strawberry Lane is a private road, and the property, the Irving Place does not go through to Strawberry Lane. So even though it's deemed a corner lot, in functionality, it really isn't a full corner lot. These are some of the other homes in the neighborhood. Most of the houses are of the same vintage, sort of the 70s, 80s, and 90s, with a couple of exceptions down below us towards the river. Is a wonderful old structure, 76 North Broadway. That's in parcel J down below us. And there's also a handsome stone and stucco house down, that is M, right across and below. But these are all substantially below our house because of the very steep grade drop. So I'm going to move into our general site plan and talk about some of the materials that we're proposing outside. And as I said, then we'll go back to Jaime about the house. So again, our basic goals were safety, functionality, improve the inside-outside relationships, and then to create really sort of a more beautiful and sensitive material palette that is quiet and soft, and everything is really in service of the view and improving the inside-outside flow. So what we have shown in this plan is Jaime's new staircase will come out and curve around on this side. You'll explore that later. Up above here, we don't show the deck just for clarity to show the lower level, but the deck is pretty much the same size as is existing, and it occurs in this area right here. Structurally, he's improved on the column placement, which is now over here. So we were able to widen a staircase, and now you're going to come out a new set of doors. And if you follow my little hand cursor here, then that creates a center line that forms a swimming pool going axially out of that, flowing out of the center line of that window. We have proposed what we're calling a Planck style paving, which is shown in this lower right corner, kind of long, narrow planks. And these are separated, you have to zoom way in to see this. These are separated by a few slivers of lawn to kind of break up the expanse of paving and still give us the functionality that we need to move around the pool. As you come around the left-hand side, there's a little spot for a grill, a dining area, and then a seating area around a new built-in fire pit, which will overlook the pool and then the river views beyond. And then there is a separate spa proposed. We have a couple sets of new staircases that will wind down to this one to a mid-level. And this staircase at the far end comes all the way down to this lower part of the property, which would be treated with a new meadow and some lawn areas for the kids to play. So I'll zoom out again for this material palette. So the only part that you really see from the street is the front elevation. And here, to help us negotiate a rather weird geometry going from the parking area, existing parking area in front to the front door, we have, rather than the Planck paving, we have selected, let me pull my screen over here. We've selected a more mosaic bluestone paving, and that helps us kind of get around the corner very nicely and great. Whoopsie, sorry, more gracefully. We have on each side of the house, we are using monolithic type stone steps, somewhat similar to one of my other projects, which is pictured here. Other site elements are outdoor grill area, which is this small bar over here, will be something like this one. This precedent image shows a concrete top. If we're not proposing, ours would be the same stone that we're using in the paving. So it'd be a nice blue stone. Again, not really visible from anywhere except for the blums, because we have screening all along, evergreen screening all along the side. The site walls, we have basically two layers, two tiers of walls. These two walls vary between around 30 inches here, but with the secondary wall to around approximately varying between 5 and 6 feet, each of these two tiers. They're all nicely planted, and all the walls are the primary retaining wall types over here are stone on the side that you can see from the upper level, and the back will have a very nice hand trowel stucco finish, which will then receive, we show you a picture here without much planting, but the whole wall will have planting in front. And then in areas that are where we're looking back at the property where we have stone walls, we'll have a variation of a beautiful natural stone like this that complements what is on the house already. That is in a nutshell our materials. We have a small bit of Belgian block banding, paving right at the entry to the garage, but that's very simple. Here's an image. This is one of my other projects, which is somewhat of a reminiscent of what we're proposing here, which although in our case, the pool would be going perpendicular to the seating group, but we have a fire pit. In our case, for the Blums, this would be a stone top. This is showing a copper top. But we like to use trees as both for shade as well as for sculpture. So this is a Japanese maple. We're proposing a native tree, a Carpinus, Native American Carpinus, but the effect will be the same, that you'll have this sculptural canopy to look out through to the landscape. We have a couple of cross sections. This is just mainly to help you grasp the grade change on the property, which is substantial. So this is coming along the side of the house. This is the pool is back in this area. This is looking to the neighbors, and then down our series of steps down to the lower meadow. Here's a view of that relationship that I was talking about across the back, where we have the new lower windows. And Jaime will talk about his sort of transparent stair rail. This is where the pool comes out right in line with that center point.
Is the pool fence on the drawing there?
Yes, I'm coming to that. I'm on my way. Now this is the other side, going down the other side of the house. And then the front elevation, I'm just going to leave that entirely for Jaime to go over in his presentation. So the pool fencing, due to the complexities of the site, the topo, there's a couple different types of fencing. So that's what I'll go through with you now. We have color coded on the plans we submitted our different types of pool barriers for this property. So we have the green, which is a clear solid board cedar fence that would be stained in a nice earth tone gray. We have a cedar fence, which would be the same cedar material as the board fence, but we want to keep it a little more transparent so you can see through it. But these are all, of course, code compliant with the pool code. We have a mesh and cedar fence in areas that we want to keep a little more transparent. And then the other, and also here's a picture of what that fencing looks like, not just on a drawing, but the idea of being able to see through so that the fence is as light as possible, and to allow us to see through to the landscape on the other side and really appreciate it. So it's more about the plants than the fence itself. And then
Is someone going to elaborate a little more on that fence?
I'm sorry?
Is someone going to elaborate a little more on that? Because it doesn't look like anything that I've seen in a long, long time.
Well, this is quite a good picture of it.
Okay.
If you zoom in, if I zoom in, and if you have this in your packet, this fence that is in the picture here is not clear. This has some knots in it. Ours would be clear cedar. And then there's a very sturdy wire mesh meeting the code restriction that is the infill panel.
Okay, you've answered my question.
Okay. And then, and we also have we'll add a copper cap to ours just to increase longevity of the posts. And then the final bit of pool barrier is the wall itself, because the height is sufficient. It is more than 5 feet, this lower wall. So that would be the smooth stucco side of the retaining wall with its stone top. So those are our fence types. Otherwise, I have in here just more detailed drawings that I don't think are necessary, but we can go through if you like, that just shows exactly which wall types are where, a little more technical drawing. And that's about it. So would you prefer to ask me questions now, or would you like Jaime to present and then talk with us after?
I have a question that I don't know who's going to answer, but I want a little more information on exterior lighting.
Yes. Okay. Hang on. I have a lighting plan. So just bear with me a second and I'm going to pull that up. Whoop. Okay, so this is also in your package. The house itself has recessed lighting in the soffit over the garage and the front door, so we are not proposing any house fixtures on the front. The only lighting that we're showing there are some very soft, dark sky compliant uplighting on the 2 accent trees that we plan to put in, small trees, and those fixtures are shown here, showing our glare shields and the size of the fixture. These are solid, these are bronze fixtures. And then we have a couple of path lights to help illuminate the path. These are the B lights, and that's right here. These are also bronze. The luminaire is right inside underneath this L, so it just shines down to the path only. So that's all you will see from the front. There are existing lights already on the outside piers. And then you have these down lights here. So the B path lights continue on along down the side to illuminate the stair access. And then in the back, we will have a couple of sort of contemporary sconces that will work for the door entrances, and those are pictured here. Also bronze textured finish pointing down fully, no luminaires visible. Sorry about that, it's moving around here. And then we have only soft uplighting on a couple of the trees and on the trees around the patio. Then there are in-wall lights to help illuminate the staircase going down, and those are quite nice. Also pointing down. No one and no neighboring properties would be able to see any of these lights, anything in the back. And then we have path lights to illuminate the staircase coming down below. Path lights on the side as well for these side steps. Does that pretty much answer what you were looking for?
Yes, it did.
Okay, great. So I think I'll stop my share, and then I'm happy to, obviously I'm staying here so we can talk later as we go through. So I'm going to stop share and let Jaime come on board.
Yeah.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm Jaime Donate. I'm the architect, as Renee has been saying. I thought I would start talking about the exterior of the house, the existing conditions, and these 2 views are from Irving Place. And what's interesting is that the house is actually the grade slopes down from the street, so it's, even though it's a fairly fairly large or wide structure, you mostly it is partly concealed by this side wall. The main view of the house you actually see through this, it's a barrowed view through the driveway. That could be a blessing or a curse, but I think it actually helps reduce the presence of the house, which is otherwise, once you see it in plan or in a site plan, it is quite present, and it almost feels in the full width of the lot. The other thing that's interesting is that Renee already touched on this, but it's technically a corner lot, but only this east facade is the one that is really perceived or experienced as the front of the house. here are more photos of the existing conditions. So there is existing vertical siding that it's not in great shape, and we're looking to replace it with similar siding, but more contemporary, a little tighter. And we're also you'll see in a second when I get to the proposed, but also we're changing making some pattern changes. The one other significant change is that we're replacing the existing windows. These are vinyl windows that are in really, really bad shape. I've been inside of this house and you actually feel a draft. So we would replace this with contemporary, very good quality windows that would meet the stretch code. Would also be replacing the garage doors and the entry door. There are also 4 existing skylights. These skylights are also in really bad shape. They are leaking, and we're asking, we're looking to replace them in kind with, contemporary, much better performing units. I should point out that the existing roof shingles are proposed to stay. They're in good shape. We're not proposing to modify or change any roof lines or any eaves. We're just looking to paint the eaves, but the building footprint actually stays the same. There are a few stone elements that we're looking to maintain. It shows up a little bit on both sides of the entry door. You can see it, and also in this central chimney. So those we're looking to remain as they are. There are gutters, say, all over the place. We're looking to maintain those. This is the north facade, which is the side, and this is all mostly is being replaced in kind. We are replacing the siding. This vent will be replaced with something of the same size, and the windows we're looking to replace them all with similar size units. There are 2 windows. Only one shows here. They're in a bedroom that they don't make sense where they are. We're looking to eliminate those 2 and fill them in with siding.
Before you go on, do you have anything on the documents showing the style and model number of the windows and what type of windows they are?
Yes, the proposed, you mean?
Yes.
Yes, there is a schedule in the drawings that has the specs.
Could you go to that page, please?
Sure. So you'll see it's on your package, sheet A204, and the windows are. Give me one second. I'm sorry, I need to go to the other document. Give me one second. This is your full package. There is a full window schedule in the I believe it's the last page, and all the units are called out. And these are Colby. The line is Vistalux, so they're aluminum clad wood framed, and they will have a painted exterior, painted interior. All the specs meet or exceed the stretch code. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, well, it does, but I still haven't seen the window schedule. The reason I ask is we receive our packets electronically, so we don't have nobody here on the dais has a packet
of what? Sorry.
We don't have the materials with us.
So, I see. It's
in your packet. That's
it is in the package. Yeah, it's on the last page, and there is a sheet that has reference images that have photos of what the windows look like. So this would help. Combination of those.
Right. I did see it. I'm asking for the benefit of everybody else on the dais.
I understand.
That's the case. They haven't. Okay.
Okay. Okay. And then maybe I'll go a little faster. On the back of the house, you know, this is where the house really becomes a little chaotic right now. That's one of the things we've been trying to do, is to harmonize the facade. You know, right now you have these 4 different volumes, and all the windows, even though they're the same windows, they're arranged in a very kind of chaotic way, I would say. And they were looking to not only, you know, to really clean up the facade and make it more harmonious. So you will see that in a second. The deck, Renee already touched on this. There is an existing stair and deck that they're both in disrepair. The stair itself is actually in really, really bad shape. It is pretty dangerous. And then there is an existing awning that the Blums use all the time, but it's actually it's quite large. It covers most of the deck, and they have an incredible amount of wind here. It's really it feels precarious to have it open on any given day. We're proposing to do it with a permanently fixed trellis. And last thing I'll touch on, this is a detail of the existing siding and the existing windows. So on the, I just have a quick view of the plan. I know most of this of the work here is about the elevation, but it is a plan of the first floor. This is the front of the house. There's really no work here other than the windows and the siding, but the building, you know, the envelope or the of the building stays the same. There's almost no change. On the back of the house, or the west facade, is where we're doing most architectural changes, if you were to say, you know, other than siding. Or and you can see this red line represents the existing deck and stair. We're enlarging it a little bit, making it more rectilinear, trying to again tie in the facade, making it more cohesive. And we're moving the stair. Right now the stair is right here, wraps around, and Renee pointed this already. It really blocks the view. It's all you see when you're not only in this deck, but when you're inside the house, downstairs in a, you know, fully exposed basement. So we're looking to move it off to the side to really open up the view, and this actually connects to the pool. So it's really trying to integrate the house and these outdoor spaces with the landscape, with the view, and so on. This is just there's a plan of the basement or lower level. I won't. You have this in your package. I'll just move on. But we're proposing a patio. Renee already talked about it too. This is a proposed elevation for the front facade or the east facade, and you can see here that we're, you know, again using vertical siding. These are 1x6 boards. The exposure will be around 5 inches, so a little tighter than what there is right now. The windows are in the same for the most part, except for this central unit here, 201, are within the same window openings. We're just changing the proportions of, you know, how they're broken up to be more contemporary. And I actually think, in keeping with the house has a fairly modern feel. So it's consistent with the design. You can see that we're maintaining the stone in the chimney and at the size of the entry door. The entry door right now has a very large double door with a kind of a rust color. We're looking to do a wood door with 2 side lights, so it will be a more let's say normal size entry door. Still pretty large. And we're replacing the skylights. The garage doors, we're looking to replace them with wood clad doors, and this would be clad with horizontal boards, and they'll be staying the same color as the siding. The idea is to not create contrast, just let it all blend in. You can also see, I don't know if you can see this or not, if it's clear on the screen, but there are a few areas where we are using tighter siding, and that is just to create some interest, some sense of texture, and also help differentiate the massing of the house. So it happens here in this garage wall, and it also happens in this this small area here between these two bigger volumes. When you see it in plan, it makes it makes sense. It's basically the entry area is like a connector. You have these two volumes, and then you have this middle one. So we're using the thinner siding to express that. This is the north facade, and basically it's replacing the existing in kind. These are the two windows that we are infilling. And then the south facade, this is where I think there is more of a change, and this is all with the excuse me, with the intent of connecting the house and the outdoor areas with the landscape. So we're again reusing the existing openings, but we're using the language of the siding and the window casing to make it more cohesive and connecting, you know, across the different volumes or areas of the house. It's really trying to create this horizontal, you know, continuity that right now is just a hodgepodge. It's really scattered. So it's trying to introduce some sense of I don't want to say order, but, you know, rationale to things threading through the facade. You can see that we have here is the deck, and the idea, the deck would be is the deck and the trellis are a combination of a steel and wood structure. The deck would be Ipe decking boards, and it will be clad in we have a wood fascia that would be stained the same color as the siding. The railing is metal, and it will have a combination of galvanized steel post and rails, and then the infill panel would be a stainless steel mesh. So the idea is that it's again it's trying not to block the view, trying to make it disappear as much as possible. The railing would also have a wood cap just so that it feels nice. The stair is off on the side. And then the trellis, there's a column on the trellis. The trellis would have an exposed steel structure, and there would be wood slats that are inset behind what you see here, this, you know, big fat line. And the west facade is similar to the north facade. It is basically replacing the windows in kind. We're actually, some of these right now are much taller. We're making them a little bit smaller. They just don't make sense how tall they are. The only significant change here is that we're proposing to change the cladding of this side chimney to stucco. Right now, it's clad in the same siding. You can see it here in this photo. So we're proposing to cladding stucco just to let it be its own element, but not call out of attention. It's not meant to be an accent. And here are a few reference images for materials. This is an example of vertical siding and the stain that we have in mind. So thinking of a dark charcoal gray, let's say, and the idea behind that is two things. One is we think that it would blend in better with the landscape. It really becomes it creates less contrast. It just really fits in with a pretty, you know, vegetated site, and also by making it a kind of say muted color, it diminishes the presence of the house and the expanse of the house. It like I said before, it's a very wide building, and it has a very jagged geometry. So this all really is the dark color really helps to de-emphasize this, very expressive presence on the site. The windows, I mentioned this before, they are aluminum clad wood, and they would be have a pretty flat profile. They are from Colby, and we're looking to use a dark gray paint. The same will be for the skylight. And the idea is, it's similar to this image here. It's not to create contrast between or accent between the windows and the siding, is just to let it all blend in and actually be quiet and go away. The skylights will be replaced with Velux units. They'll be fixed, and they would be painted a similar color as the windows. This is an image of the garage doors. This is the wrong color, but it's the same, is the right design. So there'll be horizontal boards, and they will be stained as the siding. It's an image of a entry door with a side light. Any exposed steel, I was talking about the trellis and the railing, would also be a charcoal color, and the stucco in the chimney, we're also looking to make it a gray color. That is that. I also have existing elevations, but I'll just pull those up if we need them. That is the end of my presentation. I'll turn it back to Renee. See, unless you have any questions for me right now.
No.
Nothing. No. Okay, we're good for now.
I don't have any further comments, except we're happy to talk to you about any questions that come up.
Well, I had a bunch, but you answered most of them in your presentation.
Okay, good.
I think you did a wonderful job with this house. I mean, it was already a magnificent house, and you're just making it a whole lot better in my estimation.
Thank you.
I'm wondering the mesh material you used for the in between the railings. Do you have a sample of it? It's not something I'm familiar with, and I mean, it looks very effective. I just wondered what it looked like.
Yeah, it's actually a product. I don't think I have an image in the package, but it is a product from Jacob Rope. Is the people that make cable railings. They actually it is a diamond shaped mesh. And they actually, I was researching it, and they actually use them in the High Line in here in New York. It's a very elegant, very delicate, but it is an actual railing. It's used in public buildings, so it's or public spaces. It's a very handsome product.
What's the company's name?
Oh, Jacob Rope. Jacob with a K. Rope.
Okay. Anybody else?
No.
The public, the survey inbox.
Okay. I'm supposed to. It's not a public hearing, but. Okay, we have a question from the audience, so I will ask them to raise their hand, and Sarah can let them in.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, great. First of all, I agree. I think that the proposed plans are really nice. My name is David Rubin. I live at 55 Circle Drive, and I really am just dialing in tonight to listen. But my home is very close to this particular home, and I have a question and an unrelated comment. My question is, are the Blums or the people online tonight aware of any serious landscaping going on at the property at the southwest corner of their property that might impact what they're doing? That's my first question.
I'm not aware of any neighboring landscaping that's taking place.
Okay, that's fine. And then I think I would like to pass on to you a recent change has made Strawberry Lane into a public road. It is not a private road. It is a public road. Now, I don't know if that affects anything, but I mean, you said it was private, and I just want to let you guys know that it's not.
I don't know that has been formally changed. Sarah, do you know that for a fact?
Sure.
I don't think so. I think there's
I
a
think
public
it's
hearing on
proposed.
the
Yeah,
matter.
it hasn't been cast in stone yet, but it's being contemplated. I do know that.
Okay, my information is that it's been done, but you probably know better than I, so that's fine. But at least I raised it here. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you very much for the time.
Thank you.
Homeowner has her hand raised.
What?
The homeowner.
Okay. I understand the homeowner has her hand raised.
Hey, this is Adi Bloom. And hi, David. I think that question was addressed to us as well. So no, we're not aware of any other landscaping happening on premises that we don't own. And yeah, the Strawberry Lane, that's a proposal by the town to condemn it. And there are a variety of views on whether that should happen or not. So I encourage you to make your voice heard.
I got a feeling that's going to be a protracted issue.
Yep.
Either
David,
way.
happy to talk about it.
Yeah, got it. Okay, anybody else? Sarah, nothing? Any other questions from the board?
No, no, beautiful rendering.
Yes, I agree. I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Have a good
Thank
night.
you.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Good night.
I've ever written a full page of notes on a house. on a project.
Well, because your partner in crime usually. does.
That's true, she does. Somebody has to do it.
I do as much as I can, but okay, I have the only thing I have to add is that next month's meeting would have fallen on a Jewish holiday, so now it's a Wednesday meeting
Okay,
next month.
I did have it written and I kind of looked, didn't remember that, but I was.
What's the
I'm
date
glad,
of it?
glad it was
I
correct
believe it's,
then.
let's see, the 26th and 28th,
Yeah.
maybe?
Mhm.
28th Wednesday. Yeah.
Right,
Is that
so
it,
Wednesday?
sir?
Yeah. That will be the next meeting. I don't have any other, what's that? 28th, yeah, 26th and 28th, that makes sense.
So does that mean we should plan to send you our thoughts and questions?
Well,
on the
Sarah,
Wednesday?
you're gonna send the normal packets out the same, as if it was gonna be a Monday.
Okay,
So you'll get,
Oh,
it'll be,
yeah,
it'll be
timing will
the
be
second
the
Monday,
Monday.
and then instead of the fourth Monday, be the
okay,
Wednesday.
got it. That
And
keeps it simple.
welcome. I hope it wasn't too boring for you.
I think I'd like to hire Renee to do my house.
Yeah,
She's very impressive.
yeah, they did a beautiful job with that house, and that house was just recently sold for a lot of. So they're putting a bundle into it, so, okay,
You mean
Sounds
back
like,
in
it sounds like it needs,
2017.
Yeah.
needs it,
Not that
right?
recent.
well,
Well,
no, it was 17, it was later.
She said they moved in 2017,
All right.
but maybe they did
Time
work
flies.
before they actually moved in.
Okay. I'm going to adjourn right now.
well, I
I'll
thought
make
some of
a-
the materials.
I
were
will make a
interesting,
motion
so I
to
had
adjourn the
put
meeting. Do I have a
that
second?
Second.
because
All in
those two
favor?
sentences
Aye.
were
Aye.
clear.